So you want to create a Google Ads campaign that's going to follow the people who visit your website, your Google My Business, or your YouTube channel around the internet. So when they're reading through blogs, articles, and other places online, they're going to see your ads. Well, this is the tutorial for you. Now, I'm going to do this in a real estate context, but this will apply to broader niches as well if you do want to get into Google Ads retargeting. Now, before I get into the tutorial, if you are a real estate agent watching this, this is the third video in a series of videos I've done. So if you haven't watched the first two videos, I'm going to recommend you actually go back and do that. I have them down in the description. The first one is the $500,000 a month strategy, which goes over the proper account structure that you're going to want to set up for your Google Ads account, talking about all the different campaigns and the overall strategy. The second video is the $500,000 a month tutorial, which is a long one, which is an A to Z tutorial to actually set up your proper campaign. This is the third one where we're actually going to go over setting up a retargeting campaign. So if you haven't watched those, links in the description, go check those out first. If you have, let's get onto this video. And before I do that, if you don't know me, my name is Eric Preston. I'm the founder and CEO of Agent Launch. If you want to work with Agent Launch and you are a real estate agent, you can go to agentlaunch.com/apply. We help build real estate client acquisition systems that you actually own. And that makes us a lot different than other people in the industry because when you finish our program, you're not actually reliant on us to keep getting the result. And our clients seem to like that. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that because there's more videos like this coming. So first thing you're going to do when you go to your Google Ads account, if you've watched the other two videos, I'm not going to cover basics because I cover them there. But basically what you're going to want to do is go to ads.google.com. First thing you're going to do is go to tools and settings, and then you're going to go to linked accounts. Okay, that's where I am right here in this ad account. What you're seeing here is all of our connected accounts to our ad account. So basically what this means is we've connected our Zapier, our YouTube, our Google Analytics, etc. to this ad account so that they can talk to each other. Okay, this is really important. Like if you want to do any kind of retargeting, you have to set this stuff up realistically or it won't work. Because what this does is it connects your website to your ad account so they can talk to each other. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, they can't talk to each other, so there's no retargeting that can be done. Like your ad account doesn't know what people have visited your website or YouTube channel, etc. So you want to make sure you do this first, okay? So we have all of our stuff set up. Now, you may not have Google Analytics. That's okay. You don't need Google Analytics for this to work. Google Analytics is like kind of a more all-inclusive platform for website traffic and tracking and all that kind of stuff. Some of you in this video will just have the Google Ads conversion tag on your site, and that will work for this purpose too, to retarget visitors of your site. So don't worry if you don't have that. The one thing you do really want to connect though is your YouTube channel. So make sure you go in here and you search for YouTube and you click a link and you follow the process to actually link those accounts. If you have those two things, that's really all you need. The other one is Google My Business, which you connect in a different place. But what this allows you to do is allows your ad account to talk to your YouTube channel, to your Google My Business, and to your website so that it knows who visited those places. We can then create ads to actually follow them around the internet. So let's get into the actual tutorial of how to do this. So just to give you some context for this, there's two types of retargeting campaigns, really. We're gonna focus on one, which is the display network. So there's search retargeting and there's display retargeting. So just to kind of tell you a bit about what the difference is, search retargeting is retargeting traffic in the search of Google. That means if someone searches certain keywords and they've been to your website before, we can run ads just on the basis that they've been to your website before and not necessarily on the keywords. I mean, you can still control for keywords, of course, but that would be within the search result in Google. So very similar to the previous ads we've run is another search campaign. The second one is retargeting with the display network. And that's what we're gonna focus on because that is usually what's gonna get you that brand awareness and brand recognition and kind of getting people used to seeing you and your website over and over again. And that's display retargeting. So those are the ads that you see on like blogs, on articles, all over the internet that say like Google AdSense. The most common place most of you will see these ads is reading an article, reading a blog, and every like paragraph they have an ad. This allows you to get into that auction. And that's the Google Display Network. So that's what we're going to focus on for this tutorial. Basically, like in this ad account, when we took it over, the lead cost was about $23. We've been able to get that down to about $12, which has been really, really great. Now, this is a very competitive, expensive market. If you are watching this as a real estate agent, usually your lead cost will be, if you do this properly, like usually your lead cost for your whole account should be in the like $7 to $15 range, something like that. In some markets, like a little more expensive markets, like there's always these unicorns, even Seattle's one of them, where your lead cost is a bit more expensive, but hey, your average commission there is like 25K. So it usually balances out in the wash. But anyways, I digress. Basically, what we want to do here with retargeting, and I want to make this very clear, is retargeting is not a play to get a good lead cost, okay? So when you're looking at retargeting, like if I click on this display campaign here, what is the cost per conversion? Well, the cost per conversion here is $19, okay? Whereas the cost per conversion across this account is about 12. And that's actually a really good result. The retargeting for search is $11.62, so it's actually lower. So that's really good too. So these are two types of retargeting, and we'll go into a little bit of both of them today. But the main one that's gonna net you kind kind of the result you really want with retargeting is the display network retargeting. So basically, you're not looking for a good lead cost, because I want to explain this. I want to make this very, very clear. When we drive 10 targeted clicks to your site, one of them is expected to become a lead, roughly, sometimes a bit less, okay? So if your cost per click is $1 and you send 10 people to your site, that's $10, and one of them become a lead, that's $10 a lead, right? That's roughly how the math works, roughly. That's 9 people that didn't become a lead, who clicked on your ad, who typed in your search keywords, who is a potential client necessarily. Retargeting targets those 9 people to bring them back to the site to try to get them to convert again, okay? But that's not really what we're trying to do here. And let me explain. What we're really trying to do here is take the people that actually did sign up already and bring them back. Because say you get $10 a lead, so for every lead costs you $10. Say you get 10 leads for $100, right? Out of those 10 leads that actually did sign up and give you their information on your website, about 5 to 7 of them will use the website once and they won't ever come back. So you just spent $50 to $70 on someone to come to your website, sign up, leave, and not come back. Those are the people that we're trying to target. So the 3 to 5 people that do come back and use your website a few times, those are the people that we're not necessarily trying to focus on with this. We're trying to focus on the people that used your website and at some point maybe forgot about it. Maybe they ended up going to a different site, and we want to keep them coming back to your site and using it. Because you want to make your website sticky. And a big part of the process, at least in a real estate context, is to get people using your website, teaching them why your website is the most value-packed website in your market, teaching them how to use it, how to request a showing, how to request more information, how to access you and your team on the back end, and showing them that that's something that Zillow and Realtor and all these other websites don't offer. So that's part of the strategy, and that's why retargeting is really important, is to bring people back, keep them coming. So when they do read an article, they do read a blog, they are on the internet somewhere, they keep seeing your website pop up and they keep coming back because they're curious about looking for homes. And that's exactly the type of person that we are attracting, people looking for homes. That's the whole strategy, is people searching for real estate, and we want to make sure that your website is as sticky as possible. So that's really what this is all about. So how this is going to shake down, basically, we're going to create a retargeting campaign for the display network, and then we're going to create a ad for each area that you're targeting, okay? So go to all campaigns and then overview, and then go new campaign. Basically, what we're going to do here is choose website traffic as our objective, and ignore this down here. These are our conversions. So in the last video, I showed you how to set up conversions. This is where you're going to actually want to do something different, is in the campaign type, we want to make sure we select display, okay? So display network is run different kinds of ads across the web. That's the kind of campaign we're going to focus on for this video. And then we're going to go standard display campaign. I don't like smart campaigns. They're usually not smart. It's usually just Google trying to over control things. So this one I would label like display retargeting. I would do retargeting dash display is our, I think we already have one called this, so I'll call it display 2. Now, basically, you can generally target all countries and territories is okay because you're controlling the location targeting on your original campaign. But if you do want to restrict it, you can. So like if someone from, I don't know, Brazil visits your website, do you want them to get retargeting ads? Well, potentially. Why did someone from Brazil visit your website in the first place? They might have been searching for properties in your area. You don't know that. You're not going to spend a ton of money on this. So I would just leave it at all countries and territories is generally the best practice, because usually we're controlling the location targeting in the original campaign where we're sending that original traffic to. So retargeting is generally very cheap as it is with the display network. So it's not really worth, like, running display ads in like Brazil, for example, are very cost effective. So you're not going to like spend a bunch of money on this. So it's not really worth restricting it too much. And then we're just going to go next here. We're going to set our budget. So usually what we do for budgets for retargeting is about $5 a day. It really depends on how much you're actually spending. So like in this account, we're spending hundreds of dollars a day. So we probably want to have a bigger budget than 5, and we do. But if you're spending, $30, $40, $50 a day, I think $5 a day could make sense. You can always start small. The thing you're going to notice with retargeting is if you just kick off your campaigns, you're not actually going to get a lot of traffic because your retargeting audience haven't built up yet. If you run retargeting on day 1, there might only be 10 people who visited your site. So it's not actually going to deliver that ad. Let's say we do $5, leave it as conversions, of course. Make sure you have conversions on pretty much all your campaigns. That's telling Google you're going to say, optimize for people who convert. And then Google's going to work the algorithm into that and say, I'm going to go after the type of people that convert. And Google knows who converts because we have the conversion tracking set up properly. Don't set a target cost per action for this. That's a little more advanced. The only time you want to use TCPA, target CPA, is if you've been running a campaign for a long time and you want a consistent lead cost. It's not something we use or have found to be effective in our context. So now we're on to targeting. And this is really where you want to focus and hone in like the type of person you want to target or who you want to target, okay? So basically with targeting, you're going to go add targeting, and then you're going to choose your audience segments, okay? This is really interesting because this is where you're going to actually see your audiences that have been built up in Google. And by audiences, I mean groups of people that Google knows has been to your website or your YouTube channel, etc. Okay. Basically, there's going to be a lot of stuff in here, and you're going to want to be careful of what you select. You don't want to do like houses for sale because that's just retargeting Google's list of people who've looked for houses for sale. Okay. You want to make sure you're actually retargeting your audiences, all visitors, Google Ads. So you can just hover over this and you can see what this actually is, right? This list populates using all values from all parameters in your remarketing tagging implementation. All site visitors contains everyone who's been to your page. So that's the audience you'd want to target, is all visitors that have derived from your Google Ads, right? You don't want to use similar users, okay? This is like letting Google go out there and find anyone who they think is similar. Let's just see, we can go down here. So a lot of these are actually auto-generated, just in case you were wondering, but you can also go browse, and then you can go to your custom audience segments, and you can make a custom segment. Now, generally speaking, you don't have to do that because Google automatically does do that. So that's what's different about Google and Facebook is Facebook does this manually. Google does a lot of it automatically. So if instead of doing custom, like you can create your own custom, but you can also, not combined, you can also select how they've interacted with your business, right? And you can go to website visitors and you can just choose all visitors from Google Ads. You can also do all visitors from analytics. So the difference between these two things, you'll notice that they are different sizes. This is tracking all the visitors that have come from your Google Ads, but this is going to track all visitors that have come, period. So you actually want to select both. You can also select website visitors, users the last 30 days. That's fine as well. You can also select all converters. Now, a lot of these overlap, okay? Let's see what 90 days here. Visitors of the page with the Google Analytics tags. Yeah, so that doesn't matter because we can just select all visitors in general. And the reason you want to select all of these, even though they overlap, is because it's going to give you the data after. Because you've selected all of these, it's going to give you the data for all converters. It's going to give you the data for all visitors, like how many clicks you're getting. So you can just see the data a little more clearly. Even though these overlap, you still want to select all of them because it's going to segment out that data for you later, okay? You could even select 90 days if you wanted, but I'm not going to in this context because I don't know really where that audience came from. I don't know if it was created manually or not, and I don't know what it actually is. It just says 90 days, but that doesn't mean it's actually 90 days. So then I can go back, and then you'll notice that a lot of these other audiences here are like demographic data. So you might recognize this from Facebook if you're familiar, but marital status, all this kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff you can't do in a real estate context anymore. They've limited it. So don't worry about any of this other stuff. If you do want to create a custom segment, you can basically do that here. And I'm not really going to get into that because it's not really that relevant, but it is something you can do is create your own custom segment. But again, it's not something you're going to need to do here. Just use the all visitors audiences. That's kind of what the point of this is to actually retarget visitors of your website and not similar people that Google wants to find. We want to be more in control, and we've become very good at this by spending, $500,000 a month in controlling these factors. We don't want to give up too much to Google in this context. I think in Facebook's context these days, the lookalike audiences are kind of the direction you want to go, but with Google, not necessarily. Now that's pretty much it. You're just going to select all converters. This is a list of people using your conversion tracking tag. So that's going to be people who've become a lead. Users in general in the last 30 days, that's going to target just the most recent people. All visitors in general and all visitors from Google Ads, those are the audiences you pretty much want to use. So we're just going to go ahead and click next, okay? Basically what you want to do here with your ads, so that's the campaign settings, the budget, the targeting. Now we're onto the ads. Now, this is like the actual ads that people are going to see. I probably should have brought up an example here. Anyway, I think there's some images in here that I can show you that will make sense. And so in this context, basically what you're going to do is build the ads based on the location. So Jason here is in Nanaimo. So if we go to simsrealestate.ca and go to Nanaimo, basically what we're going to do here is we can put in the URL for Nanaimo, right? And then we can build the ad around Nanaimo. Now we've built ads for each individual area that we're targeting for this team. And by the way, Jason and his team close 200 deals a year in a real estate context from this ad account right here that I'm showing you. So if you are interested in working with us to set up a similar infrastructure at Agent Launch, again, you can go to our website and apply to work with us and book an intro call. We can tell you a bit more about it. But anyways, basically we're going to set up a retargeting campaign for Nanaimo, and then you'd want to set up the same thing for all of the other areas that you're targeting. So in his context, we're targeting like 8 or 9 different areas. So we have about 8 or 9 different ads set up for those areas. So in this case, you'd want to do business name, Sims Real Estate, final URL would be Nanaimo, images, we can click plus image, and you can just see that we already actually have some images in here. So basically this is like creative that we've developed. So you'll see kind of how this looks. Basically, you want to put in the headlines and whatnot. So search all Nanaimo homes. See how it just pops up there. Search Nanaimo real estate. So it's going to give me some previews. I know we've already made this ad, so whoops. It's going to give us some suggestions here, which makes kind of life a little bit easy. So you can usually put in like 3 of your favorites here. You don't have to put in all of them. Homes for sale in Nanaimo, BC. Try our advanced MLS search. I actually don't like that. Usually with these, you want to have just kind of like homes for sale, search all homes, search all this. Like you want to basically have the whole picture in the headline. That's the most important thing. So generally I'd say have like search or homes for sale. Search all Nanaimo homes, search Nanaimo real estate, homes for sale in Nanaimo, BC, something along those lines. And then we're going to do something like this, search all the long headline. The reason you have to put a bunch of headlines in here, by the way, is because Google Ads display network is very dynamic. These ads are going to show up on Google properties, meaning they're going to show up on like Google products, but they're also going to show up in a bunch of different places, right? So see this, like promotions, it's going to show up in these little things in this is in mail, right? If you look at this search in mail, this is in Gmail. Like there's so many places that your ads are going to show up. You have to give them a lot of different options in terms of like headlines and photos and all this other kind of stuff, because for that reason. So even in the images here, you want to have one landscape and one square image. Generally, you could do something like this, which is just like a nice view of a property. You could even do a picture of the boys here. And what this will do is it just gives Google options to test, right? You're giving Google options to shuffle around all of these things and test your different headlines and test all of this kind of stuff. That's kind of the point of this. So if you want to do search all homes for sale in Nanaimo, your trusted Nanaimo advisors, something along those lines. And the reason, again, you do this is because there's so many places that in some places Google can put more keywords there, and some places it can only put less. So you have to give it options, basically. Description, you can do something very similar. It's going to make some suggestions here, so I'm just going to go ahead and like use these. Like we have some pretty classic stuff that we use, so you can do something like that. Our website has all the MLS and private listings. You can do something like this, award-winning MLS search, updated every 3 minutes. Use your judgment on this. You can just kind of copy this. Like I personally don't think this is that important. These are kind of descriptions that are going to show up in and around. See how it has the headline, search all Nanaimo homes, award-winning property search, Nanaimo homes for sale, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be the smaller text in all of your ads. So it's not like as important, but it still should complement like the headlines. So you don't really have to repeat. You should really have something that's complementary, but I always like to have one that does repeat like this. Nanaimo homes for sale, Nanaimo, British Columbia real estate. Our website has all the MLS and private listings. Let's see. Yeah, this is a good one. Search every Nanaimo home for sale today. Our website has all MLS and private listings. Award-winning MLS search updated every 3 minutes. I think that's good enough. You could put a fourth one in here, but I think that's plenty. Basically, like that's mostly what you're gonna do. I would just leave these checked. Like basically, I'll walk you through what these means. If you use asset enhancements, it's gonna allow Google to add like animations and cool things to it. Video, it's gonna kind of make like a video slideshow out of your videos. Native formats is just going to expand your reach by allowing it to use native formats and kind of change your stuff. This is just giving Google flexibility. Just leave it. It's pretty good at optimizing these things. And that's pretty much all you would need to do for creating your ad campaign. So if you look this through, like our ad strength is good, which means we have a good amount of keywords, a good amount of photos, a good amount of options, right? And this is just gonna really like, see how it has this little video? Here's a perfect example. That's what it meant by allowing Google to make like kind of videos, right? And basically you want the photo, the headline, and the descriptions to kind of line up in terms of the messaging. Like you can just see here how many different ways your ads are gonna show up. It's actually really cool. In theory, you could add more headlines and descriptions. Like I could go ahead and add 5. In some cases that could make sense. You could go ahead and add more descriptions, but that's pretty much the formula you want to use for this type of campaign. So then you're going to go ahead and hit next, and you're just going to review everything. Everything looks good. There's nothing I really need to review. And then you're going to go publish. So I'm just going to publish this, and then I'm going to pause it because obviously we don't want to run this. So if you just go to the campaign level and you hit pause, I'm actually just going to change this name, YouTube demo. There you go. Basically, that's the first type of retargeting campaign is display. Now, what you would do is you would go into this ad group, right? And so I'd go to the ad group level here and I'd hit settings, and then I'd change this ad group to Nanaimo, right? Now, how you would change this for other areas is you'd basically go over to the campaign level, then go to add groups, which I'm already on, click on this Nanaimo here, go edit, copy, deselect, paste, leave it checked where it is, right? That's all you have to do, just hit done, and then hit paste here again. Now, what that's gonna do is it's gonna start duplicating that ad group. This is how you duplicate in Google Ads. So we'll just wait for that to complete. But basically what you do is instead of rebuilding the campaign from scratch, the most efficient way to do this is to essentially duplicate and then change Nanaimo for whatever the next thing is. So if it was like Vancouver, just change Nanaimo to Vancouver. Everywhere. Change your photos, change your headlines, change your descriptions. That's basically how you're going to duplicate your different campaigns or your different ad groups in this context. Okay, so now the second ad group is there. It's going to name it Nanaimo number 2 by default. So I just go into that and I would edit it and I would change everything over from Nanaimo to whatever your second city is. Now, when we get into retargeting in the search network, which is what we're going to talk about now, essentially you're just going to build a search campaign. And so this is going to be the exact same as the previous video. You're going to go new campaign, you're going to go website traffic, you're going to click the search network, you're going to go retargeting search. You want to focus on conversions, don't set a target CPA, deselect display network, make sure that's really important. I would leave all countries and territories, go ahead and click next. You can put in your keywords here, use the same keywords as before. If you do want to copy, by the way, of my Google Ads cheat sheet, leave a comment below. I do have a keyword guide and things like that. Leave a comment, I'll get you a copy of that. If you did watch my previous videos, you should have that. Basically, the most basic keyword is Nanaimo homes for sale. So you're going to go in and put the same basic keywords in there and you're going to build the same ads, okay? So what you would normally do is you just actually duplicate your campaigns from the original campaign you made, and then you're going to change the targeting here, okay? So if I go back to campaigns, basically what we're going to do is go into audiences, and now we're going to actually select our audiences. And this is what makes this really different is if we go to browse and then we go to how they've interacted with your business, and if you go website visitors and we just select all of these, right? Now the big difference with retargeting is you just go targeting instead of observation. So this is literally all you do, okay? Now, I just zipped through this, I know, but think of it in a context. I just showed you how to duplicate, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna duplicate the campaign you made in my last video. So the general search campaign, you're gonna duplicate that, just like I showed you with display ads. Then you're gonna actually go into audiences here, and you're gonna select all of your retargeting audiences. And what you're gonna do from there is you're gonna change this from observation to targeting. Really important. What that's going to do is it's going to start spending more money on people that have visited your website who have gone back to Google and are searching again. So it's going to create you as more of a dominant force in the search market, in the website, real estate search website world, if you want to say it that way. Even if someone clicks on your ad one time, they search for like say homes for sale in Nanaimo, they click on your ad, they don't sign up as a lead, then they come back to Google like a week later and they search again, homes for sale in Nanaimo, you're going to get priority because you're targeting them both in the search and in retargeting. So you're spending more money on retargeting, so it's more likely that you're going to show up in that search again. So like if you think about it, the quality of person that searched a week ago and searched again a week later, like shows that they're a little maybe more serious. And so basically that's something you're gonna do here to prioritize people who've already been to your website, right? To get them back in the search market. What this is also gonna do is if someone does sign up as a lead, again, remember this is the most important part. Someone signs up as a lead, they leave your website, they don't come back, and they go back to Google and they search again, homes for sale in Nanaimo. Instead of them now going to someone else's site, you're gonna get back in front of them, they're gonna click and be like, oh yeah, I already went to this website. This must be like a pretty dominant force in this market, and it just builds the authority of your brand because they keep coming back to you. They see you on the display network, they go search Google again, they see you, they just see you everywhere. So this is how you become a bit of a dominant force. But this is the big difference here. That's why I just want to zip through this search one, because all you have to do is duplicate your previous campaigns, select your audiences, and go targeting. Narrow the reach of your campaigns to the selected segments. That's the important thing you need to do, meaning it's only going to show your ads to people who fall into these buckets. Observation is going to show them to anyone who searches for those keywords, okay? So that's the important point I wanted to make, is this is how you set up a search campaign. So that's really, I'm just going to discard this, but that's your Google Ads retargeting, everyone. So there's a few things to point out here. I know this is probably over some people's heads. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you want a copy of my Google Ads PPC cheat sheet, leave that in the comments. I'll send you a link. You can sign up for that and I'll send it to you in an email. Otherwise, if you are a real estate agent and you do want to get help setting this stuff up, our company actually builds all of this for you. Our company, as I said, is called Agent Launch. You can go to agentlaunch.com/apply. We basically help real estate agents build scalable client acquisition systems they own. People really love that. We're building assets rather than building a product that you rely on forever. And you can only get the result from if you keep paying us, where we're more of a, we have a 4-month program. We build out a full client acquisition asset from lead generation to systems to people, acquiring talent, training them, to sales training, to content strategy, to video editing. We cover every element of acquiring clients online. And that's why we've had almost bulletproof success rate with our clients, because if bottlenecks do arise, we're able to actually combat those bottlenecks because we have everything under one roof. So we truly are a one-stop shop. And that's what makes us different. In most cases, most agencies, they're only covering covering usually one part of client acquisition, and usually that's just lead generation. In some cases, it's nurture as well. Some rare cases, it's lead generation and nurture. We're covering lead generation, nurture, people, sales, content. We're doing the whole thing. And that's what makes us truly, truly unique. So if you are interested, make sure you apply online, book an intro call with us. Someone from my team will field that call and basically see if there's an opportunity to work together. And then you can get on a second call with myself or someone from my team. And if you do decide to join the program, we'll be working really closely together for the duration of the time that you're in there. But I hope you guys got a lot out of this tutorial. I will be making more and more content like this to just over deliver and deliver more value to you guys. But this is the third video in this series so far. I don't exactly know what the next one's going to be, but I will be making some more Google Ads content in the near future, at least lead generation content. So stay tuned for that.